All right, everybody. Welcome to the second day of the BeatStars seminars featuring Jay Hatch of iStandard Producers and Lou Plaia of ReverbNation, both founders of their companies. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the first ever BeatStars seminars. We're real excited to have you guys.
Same here.
So, thanks for having us, man. Excited to be here.
So this is our first, introductory series of, educational live music discussions, and we're going to continue to do this stuff throughout the year and just really give back to the independent music community and, help educate guys that are, on the brink of making things happen for themselves, but at the same time, they need to make the right decisions on who to partner with and who to align themselves with. So, we're going to touch on things from technology to artist development and everything throughout these seminars, but would love for you guys to introduce yourselves properly to the crowd. Lou, go ahead and start it off.
You want me to go first? Lou Plaia, co-founder of ReverbNation. For those of you who don't know what ReverbNation is, it's basically the home base of almost 3 million artists, 2.8 million. 2.6 million artists and about 200,000 labels and managers and other industry reps. Basically, we provide an online platform for musicians and their support teams to do everything from an email system to distribution to press kits to getting helping get licensing deals and playing at festivals and really everything valuable to increase the artist's fan base and grow their careers. Prior to that, I was 15 years at Atlantic Records. The last 4 of those years at Atlantic, I was the head of marketing and artist development, and I'm glad to be here.
Thanks, Lou. Jay?
Yes, sir. Jay Hatch, co-founder of iStandardProducers.com. We're pretty much the largest producer coalition in existence. We do live showcases in 35 cities across the country. We also have iStandardProducers.com, where we help music producers with label opportunities, indie opportunities, film and TV licensing opportunities as well. We've helped place records with people like 50 Cent, Rick Ross, Diddy, Yellow Wolf, Side Prince, Sean Kingston, many, many more. We're about to launch a brand new project called Beat Camp this weekend in Miami with SAE Studios, Double XL Magazine, Native Instruments, and Monster Energy Drink. I kind of started off in the game a long time ago. I used to actually be a rapper a long time ago, many moons ago. I was signed to Slick Rick's DJ, Vance Wright. Did my thing with those guys for about 2 years. And then I started going off and I did some street team for Bad Boy. I did some label work for a few different labels on the marketing side of things. And then one day I just took the money I had invested in my company, started a production company called Inner Circle Music Group, and started doing showcases called Faces in the Crowd. We were influential in helping Chrisette Michelle get her deal at Island Def Jam. And then shortly thereafter, Don DiNapoli and I started iStandard Producers. And we've been going at it 8 years strong. Great partners, great opportunities for producers out there. And, looking forward to talking to you guys and answer any questions you may have.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it for the intro. Lou, let's jump right in. You guys have made a huge play in, live performance and in the gig world. You guys even acquired a Gig Maven in 2011 and clearly are focused on this part of the business. What makes ReverbNation's gig platform one of the most successful places for independent artists to find a gig and help propel themselves in the performance world?
Well, I think it's very, very economical for one. Gig Finder on the website itself is free, so artists can go in and look for venues. We have a giant database. I think it's over 100,000 venues right now. Don't quote me on that, but it's big. And artists can go in and they can look for maybe similar bands of themselves. So if I'm a metal band, I can look for metal bands in, Omaha. That's where I'm going to play. It'll pop up. So it's really, that's the gig opportunities. Also, as we unleash out there deals with hundreds of festivals a year, everything from Warped Tour 3 years in a row to, A3C working with, things like that. Basically, we just try to get opportunities for artists, as many slots as we can get, and in return, we try not to charge a submission fee. If it's a festival, we don't charge a submission fee at all. We don't take a percentage of any submission fee. It's not the business we really want to be in. We have a different business model. But we do understand that there's a lot of work for promoters. So in return, we do extra marketing for the promoters. So they could say, hey, we're not getting any revenue from a submission fee. We'll go out there and we'll tell our artists to, if you're submitting for free, please like their Facebook page. Please tell your fans about the festival, things like that. And there are conferences that do charge a submission fee, which is fine. The only way we will work with them is if they guarantee a free badge for the artist. Because we just feel like if an artist is spending any money, they need to get something in return. So if you're paying $20 to try to play at a conference, you don't get selected, at least you get to attend for free. So I think that's why we're making big inroads. We're pretty transparent in everything we do. We don't have some of the big ones. We don't have South by Southwest or CMJ, but you know what? We don't need them.
Yeah, got you. That sounds great. Jay.
Yes.
Well, there's just, those are not the only festivals in the world. There's
right.
hundreds and hundreds of local opportunities everywhere that you guys are tapping into. And I think that provides a lot more options and variety to an artist to kind of venture in and find themselves in different types of venues. And I think that's what's really important. People get caught up in these big festivals and they don't end up developing themselves as an artist. Jay, you got to tell me what is iStandard? I know you guys do so many different things. You have the website where people can come and listen to tracks. You also partnered with a bunch of different top tier producers that you take on tour with you guys and kind of give back to the producer community. But why do you think music producers in every genre, or if it's just hip hop is what you're focusing on, and pop and R&B, why do they need to be at your showcase, and what is the value that you provide to them?
Well, for so many years, there was never really the opportunity for producers. You know what I'm saying? Everybody always focused on the artist, the creator of, the live platform per se. And what we try to do is we try to put people, these music creators, in front of the people that they need to be in front of. A lot of times, every artist has a yes man, a producer has a yes man. We kind of eliminate all that. We try to bring out people that are giving these guys real constructive criticism. People who have been through a lot of the same things that these producers have been through, whether they're, an established producer that just got their first major credit, or, somebody who's been in the game for 20 years and can kind of talk from experience, or even a manager, songwriter, engineer, somebody who can see their craft from a specific angle and hopefully help them get better at it. And I think that's, this whole beat camp thing is we really try to inject the educational side of it back into what we do. Because a lot of times, a lot of artists and producers, they want to jump to the top a little too quick. When you start at the top of the ladder, you kind of almost forget that there's other rungs on the ladder, and if you lose your footing, you don't know where to step. So you have to kind of go through it to get to it. And that's really what our motto's been for so long. But education is so important. And what we do that's different from like your everyday, beat battle per se, is we provide that, constructive, criticism. And we also have a track record. People have come to our show, built incredible relationships that have led to Grammys, multi-platinum plaques, them signing to major publishing deals. You know what I mean? Like, this is not just some hole-in-the-wall open mic where people can sign up on a list, pay $20 to perform, and that's what it is. This is an investment. This is, your ability to get out here and build relationships that, people like Lou and myself share with you, because we now have created a platform to help these other artists and producers get to what they need to get. And everybody's got their own approach to it, in terms of, registration fees and whatnot. But I think at the end
Jay, you're cutting
and if you do
a little bit.
ReverbNation, people like ourselves, what we're all about and how legitimate we are, and how real the opportunities are that we provide.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really, you don't really notice, you don't really associate live performance or live events with music producers. You know, you always associate live performance with a DJ or with, you know, recording artists. And I think that's, you know, people forget that, you know, people discover, you know, their next craze of artist or producer that they follow in a live venue because of the sound quality and the, you know, and the energy that's going around, you know, those type of events. And I tip my hat off to you guys for doing that, man, because not many people are even in that lane.
I just want to add one thing too. Like, you know, there are a lot of beat battles out there, and you know, watching a beat battle is great. It has a lot of entertainment value. You know what I mean? You watch it. Oh, you know, he just flipped that sample. It's great. Or he made that beat so fast. Or look at how he's banging on the, you know, the machine or the MPC. That's fun to watch. But we operate where we're actually trying to help these guys create a career out of what they do. You know, there's a lot of beat makers. We try to graduate them into producers. The skills, the talent, the know-how, how to walk into a meeting, how to arrange your CD so when you play your music, you get the proper attention. You know, don't send us, you know, 24-bar intros, because if you've ever been in an A&R meeting, you'll know that after the 8 bars, if the beat doesn't come in, they're skipping to the next one. You don't have the privilege of a lot of that stuff in the real world unless you go to events that provide you with that, or you have an inside information, you know, somebody on the inside who can help you tell you that. And I think that's what we all are. We are people that have inside information, and we try to help them get to, you know, that level on where they're trying to go.
Yeah, definitely. Lou, now, millions and millions of musicians, you know, use your guys' resources, your services, you know, from all over the world. Do you have, you know, maybe a backstory of any band or artist that's actually parlayed a couple of shows that was gained on ReverbNation into you know, getting a deal with a touring agency or an entertainment agency where they're actually, you know, opening up on a full-fledged tour and things like that? I mean, is there any situations that have occurred on the Reverb Live?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we don't get they don't call us and say, hey, thanks a lot, you know, we just got signed or we just got an agent, you know, things like that. But we've come across a couple. Just a recent one off the top of my head was, I guess about a year ago, I was at a conference in Philadelphia. Band played there. We had 100 ReverbNation bands play. And actually, I was the one who saw them. And I literally was one of the best bands I've seen literally in 10, 15 years live. I thought I was listening to the next Led Zeppelin. It was incredible. I went back to my room. They had like, you know, 100 Facebook likes, things like that. You know, they had nothing going on, nothing. So I got on the phone. I called my friend at the agency, TKO, the TKO group, big agency group, and he finally got to go see him 2 weeks later. I put him on the Buck Cherry tour. They just got signed to Wind Up, so they got everything going on. That's a recent one. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty more. We just did this research on bands that are like really big right now that started their careers on ReverbNation. And believe it or not, Nicki Minaj in 2006, she had, I guess, pretty much unknown. At least she was definitely unknown statistically with all the data. She had one song up there. And bands like Lady Antebellum, which is huge in the pop country world. There's a lot. We just don't, you know, they don't credit us. Because, you know, it's hard. We're a DIY system. We're not like, you know, like Jay's company. Those guys actually critique you, and they do a lot of hands-on things with you. We're not. We're, you know, hate to say it, because I'm a music guy, we're basically a technology company. We're a do-it-yourself system. We provide you the software, do it yourself. You know, that's kind of the difference. But we definitely, there's a lot of like songwriting competitions now that some of the artists are winning, and they're, you know, starting to get noticed. So we definitely see it. I'm sure there's a lot more. Alabama Shakes was found on our site. So last year, I guess, in Billboard magazine, the manager said that she found the band on ReverbNation. You know, no one ever told us that. You know, we read it there that day. So, you know, things like that.
Well, how involved are you guys getting in? I mean, are you guys, since a lot of these situations, you know, are starting to occur, and they're, you know, you're not able to kind of track, you know, what happens after, you know, an artist's success. Are you guys, you know, tackling this type of data and providing them to possible, you know, A&Rs, to like people like Jay that needs a new producer that is, you know, making some waves on Reverb, or another, the next, I don't know, like you said, Lady Antebellum that is just making some noise on Reverb, that you guys partnering with any other, distribution or label to kind of excel these artists' career, or is it, like you said, just a do-it-yourself service?
It's just a do-it-yourself service. We've talked about maybe doing some extension. Just haven't had time. We just keep releasing new products for the artists. And there's a few of us in the office that definitely have been in the label system and things like that. And when we come across something, we definitely let people know. My forte, I'm not big on the, I'm not that familiar with hip hop and R&B and that, so I don't go to Jay and say I found the greatest thing in the world. To be honest, I wouldn't know what the greatest thing in hip hop is.
Right.
It's just not my thing. But I find a lot of rock bands that I definitely send to Warner or some of the indie labels, depending on what I like. So yeah, I guess that's it. But we don't have like an extension of it. Again, artists can get distribution through us, and we can get them on iTunes. And we actually use Ingrooves for our distribution. So basically, you're going through Universal, all the artists on our side. Yeah, exactly. You guys just did a deal with them, right?
My old stomping grounds. Yeah, I mean, I was one of the first employees at Ingrooves, and headed up their content development and distribution. It was fun. I still do a lot of stuff with them. I just signed Royce to 5'9" over there, and a bunch of other great artists. But cool, Lou. Thank you. And I think those are very important points, and that's why I kind of want to bring you two together, because it's totally different in contrast into the involvement that you guys put into each artist. But on a follow-up to that, Jay, I'll get to you. I got some really good questions, but this just popped in my head. What events are ReverbNation employees actually attending more often than others, so artists can make sure that they're showing up and doing their best on stage?
What events? I attend probably like 2 events a month. It's getting a little crazy. I'm constantly at festivals. Going to Friday. I'm cutting off. I'm going to the Montauk Music Festival. I just came back from Albany. Just came back from Canadian Music Week. South by Southwest. I personally like the smaller ones, more intimate. The artists, there might be 100 artists playing, but they get to hang out with the industry people and really network, and even network with the other bands. I mean, to me, something that's always missing is artists just networking with each other and going on the road together. I just don't. I guess I see a lot more of it now than I used to. But instead of being competitive, you got to work together. And so yeah, I'm at events all the time. Unfortunately, there's only a few of us that attend the events, because most of the other guys are just technology and business guys. Got it.
Now, Jay, the emergence of the bedroom producer, right? Like right now with the inexpensive setups that you can acquire nowadays with software and some small pieces of hardware. I mean, anyone can create a hit record. I mean, we had a guy on our platform, MDL, who was just at home making beats, and next thing you know, he's got Justin Bieber's single that just it goes #1. How has that transformation in the industry resulted in popularity for, taking up beat making or producing, and how has it affected your showcases over the years? Have you seen the interest grow, and has the popularity been prevalent for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of these guys are getting younger and younger. It's amazing, how many talented, young, creative people there are out there, and I think what it does is it kind of puts everybody on the same playing field, as opposed to just being able to say they can all create a hit record, because I think they can all, utilize the technology in order to make music, but to make a hit record or to be somebody who is considered a producer, there's still so much more, there's so many more variables involved than just being able to, play around on software. You know what I mean? There's all kinds of musicality involved. There's chemistry in the studio with the artist. There's, being able to actually talk to the artist and guide them through the process, and bring in session players, and bring in, a horn section, and bring in, somebody to replay a sample. So I think what it's done is it's made a lot of what's hot now able to be on the same playing field, because the same kid that's using the FL Studios, like a Jaleel Beats or a Lex Luger, can pretty much emulate them and make a beat that's just as hot as what's out right now. And we don't get that a lot, because a lot of you guys are making dope beats, but we've heard all of that stuff already. You know what I'm saying? Numerous times. So I think the biggest thing is that if you're going to start your career in the music industry and you want to be a producer, and that's your real goal, learn what a real producer is. Study the greats like Quincy Jones, study L.A. Reid, study you know, just all the greats that ever did it. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Dre's, the Timberlands, and even beyond. And then really, you know, put your own twist on it. Don't just be happy with what you think everybody wants. Because, you know, you go into an A&R meeting, they're going to tell you, oh, we want a record that sounds like this. You come into a meeting with managers, they're going to say, we want a totally different producer. We want you to make something that's totally different from what everybody else is making. You go to the artist, they're going to tell you, I want to be like 5 a.m. from Drake. Nobody's going to give you the right information. You just have to be you, do you, find your own niche. You know, emulate your favorites, but at the same time, put your own twist to it, so that way you can find your own, you know, your own in. Everybody has their own in, just like these hip-hop artists. You know, 50 Cent got in the game through the mixtape game. You know, Drake was ushered in through, you know, a major producer and a major, you know, DJ. Everybody has their own in. So it's the same with these producers. You got to find your own in. Whether it's a beat tape, whether it's selling beats on SoundCloud, whether it's getting, you know, placement through iStandard. There's so many different ways to do it. You just have to find your own niche. And just to kind of piggyback on what Lou was saying about the events, you know, it's great to get on Twitter and Facebook.
Jay, we missed the last 20 seconds here.
You know,
Jay, we can't hear you.
Can't hear you, Jay.
Yep. You cut out the last about 30, 40 seconds. 30 seconds.
You're saying that after...
It's not about no evidence. This is what we're all about. This is checking you out. I'm saying that now, you know, get away from Twitter, get away from Facebook, get away from Instagram, shake hands, kiss babies, make relationships happen. You know, the best thing I can tell you as a producer is get in the studio with an artist. Bypass all the A&R BS and the red tape with the management. Build relationships with artists directly, whether they're new guys, established guys, and perfect your approach. Because I know Lou will tell you, you know, he goes to a lot of these festivals. Everybody comes up to us with a CD. I'm the hottest out here. I'm the hottest band. I'm the hottest DJ. I'm the hottest rapper. I don't want to hear it from you. I want to hear it from everybody else. So figure out a way to approach me in a way where I can help you help yourself. You know, I mean, I can go on and on for all this, but at the end of the day, it's really about just being personable again and positioning yourself in a place where you could, you know, just get that much closer in the door to close the deal. If it's recorded to already, and they're playing it for their A&R or their manager or their label, it's a much better chance of you walking to the label and saying, oh, I got this beat for such and such. What do you think? Will they like it? You know, it's just a whole different ballgame when you get directly with the artist.
Yeah, one of the things I found in all the festival, or conferences, I should say, and really, really pisses me off, because you'll go to a festival with 100 bands playing. So and this is, you know, all different kinds of music. Could be DJs, hip hop, rock, everything. There's probably 400 musicians there for 1 or 2 days. And then there's conferences with people from EA Sports to, you know, Universal Records, everything that they want, a producer. And 30 people show up to the conference. The artists, you know, I hate to say it, guys, but everyone, they think they know everything and everyone. And if you don't get out there and meet these people, the education and the networking is much more important than performing, you know, a showcase that probably no one's going to anyway. This is probably more on the rock side. It's not like one of Jay's things where, you know, I've been to, is like everybody's there and it's all about critiquing and learning and everything else. That's great. But on the other side, the rock side, I'll tell you, it's crazy. 30 people showing up when you can meet the guy who's going to put you in Madden Sports. Why wouldn't you want to do that?
Yeah, I mean, personally, you know, I'm glad you guys are, you know, bringing this stuff up, and you know, social networking is not the most efficient way to want to work with the certain people that you want to work with, and I've, you know, from my experience, the only way that I was able to sign Crooked Eye was I had to fly down to LA, knock on his door a million times, get into his studio somehow through his engineer, and sell myself and have him, you know, fall in love with the vision that I had want to laid out for him. People like to work with people that they know and meet, man. It's not just a virtual, you know, world out there where the biggest deals get done in person. It's never over the internet and, you know, social networks. And I just wanted to add to that. Cool. Next topic, I think here. What do I got here? Okay, Lou, how important do you think? I mean, back to the in-person live, you know, agenda that we have here. But how important do you think it is for artists to put together a very well choreographed and great live show in comparison to some of the other avenues of promotion? You know, how important is it for an artist to really hone in and master their performance?
I think it's more important now than ever. You know, you can't be a 10 anymore. You got to be an 11 because there's so many artists out there, all competing in the same space for the same. You know, they're not just even competing in the music field. They're competing against DVDs. They're competing against games. There's so much entertainment out there, and you know, every human now has got ADD. You know, between their phones and everything else, no one's got time to sit there and listen to an hour of a mediocre show. You got to just bring it all. You got to create an event out of it. You can't just be a good band or a good singer. You know, what else are you bringing to the table? You know, I mean, obviously you have to have great music. I think that's the first thing. I think too many bands don't have the great music and they're out there playing. Maybe they shouldn't be yet. But even if you have great music, you can't just be, you know, dull as can be and just sit up there singing. You know, who cares?
Right. Definitely. Jay, you want to add anything to that? Even on the producer side, what type of energy does a producer have to? I mean, do they have to bring out their inner DJ when they're showcasing their music on a live stage?
I think it's more about confidence. You know, a lot of people, like you said, and somebody even mentioned it on the chat, they never really heard of many producer events. You know, the producers, you know, historically always been behind the boards, in the basement, making beats, you know, never really in the forefront. And now in the last 10, I'd probably say the last 5 to 8 years, you know, the Swizzes, the Pharrells, the Kanyes, the Just Blazes, these guys are now artists. So they have to have some sort of persona, some sort of personality, because nobody's really paying, you know, $100 grand for beats anymore. That's dead. You know what I mean? Unless it's an independent situation where you have like a JT and a Timberlake where you already have a proven track record and they're going to sell $1 million the first week known. You know what I mean? They're going to do a certain deal together. But there's not really many people spending that kind of money on production anymore. So these younger guys need to learn how to have their confidence show through their music. They need to be able to, you know, convey their personality through their music. Because it's real important guys like, you know, Mike Will Made It and DJ Mustard and Jalil and, you know, they all have some sort of personality in their music and in their their Twitters and in their personas when they're even in video interviews, and you have to have that these days. You know what I mean? If you want to be successful, because again, it comes down to relationships. If I have a good working relationship with you and I like you as a person and we make good music together, 9.9 times out of 10 I'm going to come back to you because I know we're going to make good music together. You know what I mean? So they have to be able to do all that nowadays. It's more about a business than it is about, you know, anything else. Once a producer makes a beat, that's their product. They put it up next to Coke and Pepsi. You know what I mean? Like, you're competing with other unsigned producers. You're competing with the big guys. You're competing with the big boys. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm Coke or Pepsi and I'm leading the league, what's this new soda got to do to stand out to me? It's got to do something special. You know what I mean? The presentation's got to be great. It's got to taste great. It's got to have an incredible marketing plan behind it. It's got to have some sort of standout qualities, or else I'm not going to pay attention to you, because there's about 100 other, and in reality there's about 1 million other, you know, Coca-Cola's on the shelf. So how do you stand out? How do you make your mark? You know, and I would definitely take a page out of people like Swizz Beatz, and, you know, these guys reinvent themselves every so often to remain, you know, relevant in the game. You know, and if you're only as good as your last record, you know, that's why you don't see a lot of these producers making beats every day again. You don't see Just Blaze on everything. You don't see Pharrell on everything. They do accounts, and they make that money on the other side of the world, like the licensing side of the world, video games, scoring movies. That's where the big money's at. Don't shoot low money. There's only so many budgets open out there a year to get these big placements. Some producers, almost fool themselves into thinking that they're going to get T.I.'s next placement or, one of these artists' next placement, because a lot of these guys have their own in-house producers. That's why I tell a lot of producers it's important to get your own artist and help them convey your style out to the world and put, time and effort into sites like ReverbNation and utilize the tools that Lou's been providing artists for the last 5 years. I met Lou at A3C, I think about 5 years ago, and it's incredible to see, what type of platform he's created, because there's really nothing like that online. You can't go to one place and find all that artist's information anywhere, as far as like rankings and, so I would just say, go through iStandard if you need beats, and go through ReverbNation if you need artists, and connect the dots.
Right.
It was very,
I think you brought up
very launched our last Facebook page, and he
Jay, I think you brought up a really good point. But even you brought up the Swiss Beats and the Just Blazes. To be completely honest with you, from the outside looking in, yeah, those guys are individual personalities, and they have to reinvent themselves every so often. But I think the guy that partners with the right artist, like you said, the guy that finds the right artist and they brand themselves together like a Ryan Lewis and a Macklemore, and you see those guys go out on stage together and they're synonymous with each other, I think that's just way more important than than just holding on to your own, because the producer we can't sing, we can't rap, we can't do a lot of the things that the artist provides on the to the marriage of that kind of partnership. So I think right, I don't think you'll ever see a situation where Macklemore and Ryan Lewis will ever be apart, unless he hangs out with other guys' girlfriends.
True, but I also think there's a down. Well, there's a little bit of a downside to situations like that, because you won't see Ryan Leslie work with many other artists. So he's kind of, I don't want to say he's pigeonholed himself in a sense, but if you're looking for specific records, I think that might be the challenge, because they're going to put him up against Pop and Tag's record, and they're going to look at it like, okay, that's what he brought to the table. Because then again, for somebody like Ryan Lewis, it's really about building relationships. Look at will.i.am as a perfect example. People thought will.i.am was just this pop, Black-Eyed Peas producer dancing around the stage like a lunatic. He's made some incredible hip-hop records for The Game, Nas, a lot of different people. So, it really just depends on how you position yourself again. So I think Ryan is an incredible talent, and I think what him and Macklemore have done in the last 12 to 18 months has been incredible. But I think for him to be successful long-term, he's got to really make sure he establishes the right relationships and really attaches himself to the producer community as well, and not just Macklemore, because people eventually are going to think Macklemore is only a certain type of artist, and they're going to think they only have certain type of tracks. So it's a double-edged sword in that case. Right.
Lou, now, I know a lot of artists are, probably pitching to get on the next festival or the next, live venue, and sometimes, they get let down and they're not able to land somebody because of the amount of saturation of artists. Do you think platforms like, Google Hangout and, recorded outs and things like that are a great way for musicians to, showcase their performing to a music supervisor that is looking for, certain types of music, but don't have the luxury of performing at a venue? Or if they're, a band that is geographically not positioned in an area where there's a lot of music going on, and their only option is recording themselves online. Do you think those platforms have been successful and useful?
Yeah, I think they are. Google Hangouts definitely one. There's another one. I can't for the life of me think of it. It's going to kill me. I'll remember it soon. But they're doing really well. You actually get paid. People can actually donate to go to your event. It's basically set up a laptop. You can do everything there. I think it is. I mean, I don't know. The problem is on the other end. I don't know how many industry folks are going to sit in front of their laptop looking at somebody, trying to figure out if they're worth, doing anything with. I don't know. I mean,
if it's a recorded
this experience here, it's cool, but it's breaking up. You know what
true.
I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all going to depend.
This is really good, but if I'm an artist singing right now, sorry, what?
Yeah, I agree. Jay, how is
they'll perfect it eventually?
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
Once the internet and Google Fiber starts spreading around the nation, right? But Jay, when me and you had a conversation a couple weeks back, and you were telling me that iStandard is going to be branching out into more of a more management type role for a lot of producers that they think are very talented and be part of their their careers throughout whether it's publishing or making sure that they're monetizing on their content on certain platforms and being more part of certain producers' careers. How do you filter through? I know you said it's a lot of it word of mouth. People come to you and say, "Hey, this producer's really hot. You should check them out." But do you have your own filtering process when looking for a producer? And what are you listening for? What attributes of a producer's music is what stands out to you?
Well, for me, luckily I'm still heavily involved in the day-to-day and on-the-road stuff, so I see a lot of these guys firsthand. I get to meet a lot of the producers that are in our shows, that are on our sites, and, from my previous experience in retail, I used to manage 18 stores, almost $400 million worth of inventory, so I have a pretty huge capacity for people and communication in general. So, when I see these guys and I see them, and they're out there, there's a certain star quality, almost like an artist in some cases, where, whether it's the confidence level they have, whether it's how they carry themselves, how humble they may be. A lot of times these guys really don't even know how talented they are because they haven't had the platform to be put on to be told how talented they are. You know what I mean? So what we're really trying to do with iStandard eventually, and I would say we're slowly taking steps towards that, is becoming a publishing company. We sign about 20 to 25 producers a year and start building a catalog with them through iStandard, taking a piece of the publishing, owning part of the copyright, and building a song catalog and shopping these guys on a more consistent basis. We're in the process of getting all the legalities out. We're also building a staff, but we have started already in certain aspects. So we do shop music directly for producers right now. We have about 10 people, I'd say, that we, go to whenever there's projects. Like, Def Jam will call me and say, Hatch, I need beats for, Pusha T or Jadakiss or, Joel Santana. What do you got? And either me or my staff will go out and, go take a meeting or have them come to our studio, play them some records, and, see where it can go. We've placed a lot of records without having that relationship or that bond or that contract when we didn't have our feet wet. And we placed, one of the first places we ever got was 50 Cent's Amusement Park, through iStandard. And, one of the other producers on the track found a producer at our show, made him co-producer on the record, and he got his first RIAA certified plaque. And now he's worked with Neo, LL, Jay-Z, and all that since. So a lot of this stuff happens indirectly. And in order for us to really command a publishing situation, we had to get our feet wet. And I feel like we're at that standpoint right now. We have about 10 producers that we're shopping across the board, but ultimately we get thousands of submissions monthly. We have an A&R team that sifts through it. We have the contacts of the label that we communicate with in order to, see how they feel about it. They'll take a meeting with a producer or give feedback. Again, we're really right now the facilitator. But eventually where we want to be is we want to go to a BMG and get, a larger check to sign to people like the S1s, the Cardiacs, the Black Metaphor, all came up through our rank that at one point we won, but we didn't have the capacity to do so.
Right.
These guys are all Grammy Award-winning producers now, multi-platinum. So it's great to know that we've been able to help guys like that. And definitely not saying it's been, our, doing, fully. You know, these guys obviously had relationships, they have talent, but a lot of relationships have been built, you know, at our events that these guys currently have. And once they got that first placement, it's helped them catapult in other situations.
Very cool. Yeah. I mean, yeah, a lot of those names that you mentioned did come to iStandard, and that's, you know, very impressive, you know, roster, man. That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, producers, get on iStandard, definitely. Lou, why do you think Reverb Live is more essential to an artist's career in comparison to other services like Sonic Bids? What is the biggest differentiator that you guys do in comparison to the competitors that are out there?
From the opportunity side, like from the live event side?
Both.
I think from the live event side, you mentioned Reverb Live. That's kind of our division, what we're calling ourselves internally, basically, for the last 2 years, 3 years, looking for live events, just brokering deals. What differentiates us? I'm not going to say there's really that much of a differentiator between us and Sonic Bids other than pricing, and the fact that we do attend a lot, and we can add a whole marketing standpoint to the promoter, where I don't know if the competitors can actually do that because of our community is so large. So as far as the quality of events, they're probably the same. I mean, I'm not going to say we have better gigs than other people. In fact, Sonic Bids, you know, they have South by Southwest and CMJ. Some people believe those are the two biggest or two best. I personally like the smaller ones where you don't get lost as much. But, you know, I'd say quality-wise, they're the same. We just have 10 times more artists than anybody else, pretty much.
Right.
As far as ReverbNation, our marketing platform itself, what sets us apart is we just a one-stop shop. We just have everything. We basically do everything a label does. Again, do it yourself, but except for radio, we don't do radio. Even some of our opportunities are getting your music on internet stations, radio stations, but it's not, you know, not the same thing as traditional. But yeah, it's just a home base where you can do everything. You can go to other mail service companies, use them. You could go to a TuneCore to go distribution through them, or CD Baby. There's other platforms out there who do specialize in one thing or maybe two things. We just do everything, so might as well do it on one place. And most of the stuff we have is free, Facebook apps, you know, the widgets, all that.
Right. Cool. And Jay, we're co-sponsoring your Beat Camp events here at BeatStars, and we're real excited to see, you know, how that progresses for you guys. Can you tell us a little bit about Beat Camp? You know, how it's structured, and you know, what are some of the portions, the sections of the events, and why producers need to attend them?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Beat Camp was something that we probably started thinking about 2.5 years ago. You know, we do inject education into the actual showcase, but you know, a lot of the producers don't always get a chance to talk to the judges when they're at the show, or maybe it's just too busy and it's in a nightclub and it's loud. And this is like kind of like all VIP removed. This is about being able to like build with these guys one-on-one. So what we do is we created like a mentoring / classroom system where we have you know, various vendors come out like Native Instruments or IK Multimedia or some of these other technology companies, and they set rooms at SAE. And we pretty much deliver the classroom setting where we have like the Justice League will come out and teach you how to brand yourself and network yourself as producers. We'll have Illmind come out and teach you how to make your drums bigger. So we partnered up with SAE, we partnered up with Double XL Magazine, Native Instruments, Monster Energy Drink, and basically we picked 4 cities this year to do the event at, and that's in Miami this weekend coming up. July 19th to the 21st, we're in Atlanta. We're in LA, September 13th to the 15th, and then November 1st through the 3rd, we'll have our Beat Camp in New York, but it's also our year-end event, Beast of the Beat 7, where all the winners from across the country, all 80 winners, come back to New York to compete for a major prize package. Last year, we flew the winner to the studio, Tree Sounds in Atlanta to work with Sahai the Prince, and the year before, we flew the winner to work with Eminem's artist Yellow Wolf. So it's really about just encompassing the complete experience, from education to networking to you know, getting in the studio with your first major, you know, artist, certain possibilities. Lou's got someone in the background giving him rabbit ears.
My daughter.
Saw that. It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, we need education. Exactly. But we need education. And Beat Camp is kind of that for producers. It's basically a boot camp for producers. I mean, we used to do. We were part of something called the Remix Hotel many years ago, a Remix magazine, and they were the first major seminar/conference to invite us into their home, and they're no longer around. So we kind of wanted to take where they left off and add more of a producer element to it, and more of a one-on-one/classroom. We do beat listening sessions. We do a celebrity beat cipher with all your favorite producers. We do our normal showcase. We'll do a few panels as well as the classes, so everybody can enjoy them. But you can go to iStandardProducers.com/events and find out all our events, as well as our first ever online producer showcase that we're doing on June 2nd. So we're actually using a similar platform with Google Hangout and doing the first producer event online.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think we've given everyone a ton of information. Let's let them process it. I know a lot of guys out there want to ask some questions. I want to open it up for you guys to ask some questions. I'm going to turn on this Q&A. So if you have a mic and a cam, you can jump right in. Let me turn it on.
All and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
Yeah, press *6 and you'll be unmuted and you can jump in. Who's got a question for either Jay or Lou?
Peace. This is Doc Strange, Stronghold Recording Studio.
What's up, Doc?
How's everything? First and foremost, I want to say I appreciate it and thank you for the opportunity to be online with you gentlemen. Question regarding starting up. I'm sort of like a dinosaur coming from the analog to the digital world, trying to catch up and get into the game with how things are now in the do-it-yourself age versus walking foot to foot to studio to studio to record company in the late 80s, early 90s. My question is, in regards to having material for a few artists that we're dealing with and getting on ReverbNation, CD Baby, and different things, is the budget more important to have to put them in all of these areas, or is it just the amount of actual connections, hits, and places and venues that you get your artists into?
Okay.
Answer that one, Lou.
So, Mark, are you talking about who gets picked for these events? Is that what the question was?
Let me turn it back on. 1 second.
Okay. And may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
Doc, can you repeat the question?
Okay, my question again is, let me make it a little easier. When you're dealing with, because we have a recording studio, we got a few artists. And like I said, I come from the time when you're just going from club to club and places that don't even exist anymore, and with the internet and everything else, CD Baby, ReverbNation, things like that. Is it more important for me to have to develop the type of account to get, as far as money, to have them being able to be heard and played, or is it more important that they're doing what they need to do as far as getting people to listen to their stuff, doing more venues to where they can get the notoriety, get more exposure on the internet? Because I'm still trying to learn that process. Like I said, I come from just going to Palladium, the Grill, Roseland, and rocking the spot. But now I'm learning half of the game is the internet right now, and if you're not on Reverb, like somebody told me recently, you ain't on ReverbNation, you a dinosaur. You need to get in the game. So that's why I'm sitting here learning from you guys right now.
So basically, are there any premium?
Muted.
All right. So basically, the question was, are there any premium services for a guy like Doc that has artists that he wants to expose that are more efficient than others on either platform?
Yeah, I mean, on the Reverb side, one, there's actually a label or management console you can use, so you can actually put your whole roster up there and see how all the bands are doing. all the bands, all the artists are doing, including yourself. And then there are premium services. There's more customizable email systems. I don't think having a better email system is going to make you more famous and, get you better gigs. It might, some of your fans might stay with you longer because they won't opt out of your mailing list. But there's other services. We have this thing called Promote It, which is basically you can put your banner ads on sites where some of your existing fans are. It's pretty cool. It actually follows your fans around. So if I just listen to your music on some site, whether it's Reverb or somewhere else, and I go to this site, I'm going to see an ad on the right-hand side of your music. It's pretty wild. But those are things that are really good for existing fans. As far as getting newer fans, I think you do have to be on, Twitter and Facebook, just because that's where consumers are. That's where fans are living nowadays, unfortunately. I mean, I wish it wasn't the case. And everyone says it's much easier because everybody's in one place or two places, but it's so much traffic. I mean, you got to cut through all BS. You tweet out something, and chances are that no one's going to see it. People are getting so many tweets now, and it's just, almost like the old days of MySpace friends. Do they mean anything anymore? I don't know. What's a like going to be worth in another year? Is it going to mean anything anymore? I have no idea. I don't know if I answered your question totally.
Right. All right. Let's take one more.
Muted and may unmute themselves by pressing muted.
All right. Go ahead, Jay.
I was going to say this question. I think, to focus more on the music side of it and have my guys go out and, perform, or is it more about the online, getting fans, getting your hits and numbers and whatnot? And I think the most important really thing to do is to do it all. You have to be able to do it all. You have to run your situation like a record label would. Make sure you have the right business title. Make sure you go and get your business registered. Find some interns that want to get in the music industry. Come up with a real good plan. Make sure your music is quality. Make sure you have quality music. It's mixed, it's mastered, it's recorded in the studio. Your performance is tight. You're building fans, a flyer, a towel, a T-shirt, something that when these guys walk away from you, they'll remember who you are, because everybody's got a short-ass attention span these days. I'm saying we all have a fast-track mind. If I see it on the blog today, it's not there tomorrow, it's on to the next one. So really focus more on the full circle priority. More questions. Let's go.
So let's take one more.
Muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
Anybody want to jump in?
Hey, how's it going?
So what's up?
Shoot. Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yep.
Oh, hi, yes. My name is, I'm an upcoming artist in Syracuse, New York. My name is, I go by T.Y. the Grim. I just had a quick question here. I just wanted to know, how was your process in getting those artists that you look at or that you like, and putting them, or how can I say it, getting them put on to other or bigger producers or labels, or getting them to meet somebody?
T.Y., can you repeat it one more time?
I guess I'll take that one.
Yeah. It cut out a little bit. I didn't get the whole thing.
I think he was asking how
Jay, you're cutting out too.
Yeah, I think what he was. How do you decide when you want to have bigger producers or whatnot? You can answer it too, but I think for me it's about what an artist. If you have if your package isn't where it needs to be, meaning if you don't have the right records or the right look, or your presentation online is not that popping, I'm gonna have to start with you from the beginning. So I gotta want to spend the blood, sweat, and tears, and really believe in your project in order to want to go full for you, because the management position or anybody in that initial position, it's the hardest position in the world. It's the most work. It's the least amount of money. The production company you're signed to usually has the negotiation rights when it comes to chopping your deal, not the manager. So if I introduce you to somebody, I'm going to want to somehow be included in that, because if I believe enough in you, I'm going to want to have my hands in it. Somebody told me a long time ago that they told them that if you believe in something, find a way to have your hands in it, some way. So if it passes by my table and I believe in it and I want to introduce you to somebody or build a relationship with you, I have to believe in it 100%. I think anybody that's going to want to stamp their name on you has to believe in you. If you're like raw and you have nothing really, on that foundation level, it's going to take people like Elf and Lou time and effort to put into it, and there's got to be some sort of beneficiality to it that's going to make our day somehow. You know what I mean? It's just the way the land. You don't do something really special about you, about what you do and your plan, your vision. Yeah.
Cool. You guys want to take one more, or? Well, it looks like
Yeah, take another one.
Okay, let's do one more.
And may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
Anybody got a question for either Lou or Jay?
Hello.
Yep, we hear you.
Yeah, this is SD Corleone, and I was just wondering, like, I'm a young artist coming up and trying to make things happen, and need to know the routes that I need to take it into this industry and get my music right, and how certain ways to push my music. And financially, I'm not really as good with the studio money, but I'm making it happen right now. But I just need like a little bit of guidance on, the next steps.
Okay. Did you guys get that? It basically has a studio, making a little bit of money, wants to take it to the next level.
I don't hear anything now.
Lou, do you hear me?
Now I hear you.
Well, I can
It's
help.
cutting out a lot lately.
Yeah, I can hear that. I mean, I can help interject here. I think what you're doing is, and this was, part of the conversation we had last night with Ghazi was great. How Ghazi was, started out in the studio as an engineer, started out in the studio as a DJ as well, and just, he invested in the studio, came in and charged artists that, that needed to use the service to pay the bills, but at the same time, started mixing and mastering tracks for artists that would come through his studio that he was actually a fan of, that he would, that he didn't mind giving them a free mix, didn't mind giving them a free master, just to continue to bond with, because he knows that at some point that artist is going to, help propel themselves. And but at the same time, you got to figure out ways to keep the lights on. Yeah, I think sometimes you got to give and take. Sometimes you gotta be able to decide who you think is going to be someone that you're going to eventually have a long-lasting relationship with here in music. A lot of times the same people that you come up with are the same people that you end up working with throughout the whole time. So it's just a grind. Definitely use social media to help mix and master some artists that you're fans of. Offer those services for free. Connect with them. You can use it as an entry point for other things that you do, whether it's producing, whether it's writing. I think you have to build out a full suite of services in your studio nowadays. It can't just be a one-trick pony. So, all right, guys. I think that is it today for tonight. Make sure to check in tomorrow night. Day 3, we'll be talking with Propeller Heads Jerry Basserman. Lou and Jay, thank you guys so much. Why don't you guys shout out your Twitter addresses? People, if you have any other questions, make sure to hit them up on Twitter and bug the hell out of them. I don't think these guys would mind reaching back out to you.
Yeah, I'm at, I just actually put in the message board, at Lou Plaia, LOUPLAIA, or at ReverbNation, and we give you all the marketing tips. And every time we launch a new opportunity, we do probably 5 to 10 a day, festivals, live events, conferences, licensing deals, all that garbage. And Jay, you're up. Thanks for everything, Abe.
Lou, thank you so much. Thanks for your time, guys. Have a good night. We'll definitely put up the recording of this conference up on our YouTube and website. Thanks again, guys.
Hey, you want to give yours?
All right, man. Thanks for having us, guys. Yeah, I've been putting all my stuff up on the Twitter timeline here, but you guys can definitely hit me up at status. Check out the website, iStandardProducers.com/event. Reach out to BeatStars.com. So it's a great look to have that partnership there, and definitely looking forward to doing some big things in the near future.
Yep, guys, Jay cut out.
If y'all want to hit me up,
his Twitter is at mogulstatus, MOGULSTATUS, and iStandard. Follow those guys, bug them. They have a lot of knowledge and information. All right, guys, peace.